So I have a website and I've made some changes with the filters, with the chat engine filters because they didn't work. Everything looks fine, and when I'm checking out on the back end, then you see every filter works. The problem is that when you use it on the front end, nothing works. So the filters won't work when I'm going to the front end. And let's just put it into an incognito, and now you can see that it doesn't work. You see I'm choosing for the post types, and this one works, but when you go into this filter then it won't work. You see here the map and it doesn't appear. Now you think by yourself, then I'm going to cache the website. So you go into the website and you cache it, and you try it once, you try it twice, then you're going to the database cleaner and you clean up the whole database. You scan it and you clean it. It doesn't work, it still doesn't work. Then you go into your provider, then you're gonna cache it manual. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. And what's the reason? The reason is why because you have installed a plugin. In this case I've installed a plugin, and that is for speed up the websites, speed optimization. So when I'm going down and I'm going here to this plugin, the accelerator, I've worked on this website and I didn't deactivate it, and that's all. Now, in the worst case, you have to go to the files, and then you have to first delete the plugin, and then you have to delete all the files that are dedicated to this particular plugin, and then you have to cache everything, and then it will work. So keep in mind when you have some speed optimization on your website, and it also can be with the code box, for example, or the code snippets. You have to deactivate it because otherwise you get yourself in problem and it won't work. So when I'm going to the website and then I've cached it, then it should work when I've deactivated and I've updated the the website, but it doesn't still work in here. So I have to delete the history. But this is a fresh browser in Safari, and then it should work. So you see it still doesn't work because the memory of the caching plugin is still working. So in this case I have to delete the plugin and I have to start all over again. So let me see, when I'm going to the plugins and I'm gonna deactivate it. So it's store something in the HTTPS file. So unfortunately I have to delete it. So when I'm deactivated and I'm trying it once again to use the caching, and then I'm going back to the site. Let's see, let's push OK, and when I reset the page, then you see that it works. So it's definitely for the caching plugin. So now it works, and when I'm going to this particular taxonomy, then you will see that it also works. As you can see, now it works. So that can be the problem. Now a little bit more about Jetengie filters. So I've made the filters. So here is the Jetengie filters. Let's see the filters. Then I've made, of course, in the previous tutorials I've already explained that I have made the query for two different kind of post types, and then I've grabbed the value of the first post type and the second post type. It's manual input and it must be in select fields, and this is what I've showed you in the previous tutorial. But when you go into the websites, then you can see that here is the filter. Now what you don't have to can do is put in a filter and then under it another filter and another filter and another filter and dedicate it to the filters that you've made. No, then it doesn't work, because you have to embed all the filters in one content. So here are all the filters on the left side, and you have put it in one box, otherwise it won't work. And with the taxonomies, with the post types, another thing happens, and that is that I couldn't query out different kinds of post types. So I had two post types, but they didn't filter it out. It only filters it out when I'm using the filter of the post type. So this is the post type filter that I've made, and when you go to the filters, then of course this is the filter. But what I did, or what I had to do to make it work, was going to the query builder. So I'm going to the query builder, and then I'm gonna I had to make a post query. So in here, this is the post query. As you can see, this is the post query, and when you see that the general, I've selected the two post types that I want to use. So when I'm going back to the page, then I use the custom query. So when I was going to the filters, here are the filters, then no, sorry, it's the map. In this case, it's the map. So you go into the custom query, you toggle it on, and then you activate the custom query that you've made. Otherwise, the two different kind of post types won't appear. It will only appear one post type, and then it will only work when you also select the post type from the root. So this is the root filter, and it works when you choosing one of the filters that are dedicated to the post type. Then the filters under it will work, but you don't want that. You want them also to be allowed to select from any other filter. So that is why you have to use the query. Now there is something else. Of course, you have to use the marker, the pop-up, and the custom query. I've discussed it. And the dynamic visibility, you don't have to use it. So it is not the custom post type filter, but it's the custom filters. And when you want to use different kinds of listings, then you have to go in here, and then you have to go to let me see, general, and then the marker is okay, so the pop-up is okay, and the custom query is okay, the post types are okay, and the terms are okay. Now it's the filters once again. So when we go into the filters, then you have to use for the additional provider, and you have to enable it. Then you have to choose for the Jetengie maps. So this is the Jetengie map, and you have to use for Jetengie to let it also work on the post under here. So yeah, that is a little bit what I want to say. So unfortunately, I have to delete the plugin that I've showed you, and I have to delete all the files and then install it once again, and then it will be fine. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.